Good evening. It's now time to talk Nitty to me with Poker Rhino. Yes.
You know, dear listener, this probably isn't the best beer in the world that I'm drinking right here. Honestly, beer snobs would probably tell me I'm wrong for liking it. They'd tell me about the hops, the IBUs, barrel aging, whatever. But every time I crack open a real Ale Devil's Backbone, I smile. Not because it's the greatest beer ever brewed, but because it reminds me of home. It reminds me of sitting around the table with my grandparents, my mom, my uncle, my cousins, all of us playing cards, laughing until somebody couldn't breathe, arguing over who cheated, telling the same stories we'd already told 100 times, and somehow laughing even harder every time we heard them. It's familiar. It's comfortable. It's home. Funny thing is, I think poker's a lot like this beer. People spend so much time chasing what's best that they forget to enjoy what's right in front of them. And honestly, that's probably why I love the Trash Panda. Welcome back to Talk Nitty to Me. I'm Poker Rhino. And today's episode, no sponsorship, no problem. You know what Boy Meets World, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Cheers, and The Big Bang Theory all have in common? They weren't really about school, or coffee, or a bar, or even a science lab. They were about people. The setting was just where those people kept running into each other. Poker's the exact same way. People think poker's about the cards, but it isn't. The cards are just an excuse for people to meet. 7-4 offsuit. Yeah, I know. Not the best hand in poker. I'm not here to convince you it is. And sure, every once in a while it'll make a sneaky straight, and yeah, technically you've got not one, but two chances at a flush. And while it is why I'm a fan of it, it's not why I love it. I love it because it's fun. Every time those cards hit the felt, it's a little adrenaline rush. That little voice in your head that says, what if? And then if you actually get there, oh man, does the Trash Panda piss people off. Poker's supposed to be fun, and sometimes I think we forget that. And speaking of fun, let's talk about another masterpiece from the Poker Rhino Hall of Questionable Decisions. The Dirty Diaper. 3-2 offsuit. Sometimes if I'm sitting on a mound of chips, I'll just play it to see what happens. A couple of years ago, I was playing a day one at the lodge, and if memory serves, I may or may not have been about 5 Fire Eagles deep. But I look down at 2-3 offsuit and think, let's see what happens. The flop comes. Ace something something. And at this point, it's just me and one other player, so of course he raises. I've been drinking, so I stick around. Turn is a 4. He checks. I fire, and he calls. At this point, I've got music in my ear, probably some anime opening or maybe a Disney song. Honestly, it could have been both. But at this point, I'm just enjoying life. Then, like the poker gods themselves decided today's punchline had finally arrived, the river is a 5. The wheel, absolute miracle. I check. He goes into the tank. And after what I felt like forever, He bets about half of what he has left. I don't even think about it. I jam. He snap calls. Turns over pocket aces. So homie G Dog had trip aces, and he is sitting there smiling. And I quietly turn over my dirty diaper and reveal the straight. He was furious. And I don't mean fake poker mad. I mean, this guy made it his life's mission to stack me. Cash games, tournaments, didn't matter. For the next 3 months, if we were sitting at the same table and somehow we managed to run into each other at 3 different card rooms, by the way, that happened, he wanted every chip I had. All because the dirty diaper got there. So the title of today's episode is No Sponsorship, No Problem. And if I'm being completely frank with you, no one's ever called me and said, "Hey, Rhino, where our patch?" Nobody's ever paid my buy-ins. Nobody's ever booked my flights. No one's ever covered my hotels. Would all that be awesome? Absolutely. I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't. But somewhere along the way, I realized poker's already given me something worth more. Take Randy from 3Coin. Every time I see him, he's handing me another shirt. But never once has he said, "Wear my patch, post about us, tag us," nothing. But you know what he does say? "Here, brother." See, that's not a sponsorship. That's friendship. And I'd rather earn friendship than sponsorship any day of the week. See, when I first got into poker, Doug Polk was someone I had watched on YouTube. Then one day I'm sitting in front of him at the lodge in a tournament. Brad Owen? I watched his vlogs just like everyone else. Then one day I'm standing in line at the lodge waiting to get chips, and sure as shit, there he is. And I'm standing next to him, and we just get to chatting. Didn't ask him for a selfie, just one player chatting with another while we were waiting for chips. That, dear listener, is the magic of this game. The distance between fan and player is surprisingly small. One of my favorite dealers of all time, I met her at Bullets, and now she's at SA Card House, Brittany. She invited me to her birthday party. And that's where I met Sam Perryman. And somehow we ended up spending most of the evening talking about our time at Baylor University. You know, here I am just showing up to celebrate a friend's birthday and end up leaving with a new friend, but, you know, someone I'd seen on streams here and there. And then there's Huggy, my bestie. Poker gave me Huggy as well. He's had my back more times than I can count, not because he had to, not because someone paid him, but because that's what friends do. And I don't know what sponsorship could ever top that. And then there are all the other people this game has brought into my life. Poker Face Ash, Poker Mama, Mallory, Wolfgang, British Bulldog. People I genuinely look forward to seeing. Not because they're creators, not because they're personalities, but because they're good people. And then one day, something happened I never expected. People started to recognize me. Not because I had won the main event. That is yet to happen. Not because I had a patch on my chest. But because they watched me on those streams. I remember I was playing at a tournament TCH Dallas recently, and this one guy just kept smiling at me, and he finally says, "Man, I watch all your streams all the time." And he knew exactly how I played, which is honestly a bit terrifying. Anyway, we get into a hand. Flop comes Queen 2-4. And my newly acquired acquaintance has 2-4. Well, what he doesn't know is I've got Queen 4. So we've both flopped 2 pairs. Just like my own little poker Padawan, he jams. He is convinced that I'm going to fold, but instead I snap call him. In my head, I'm already dragging the pot, so he starts doing that defeated backpack grab, you know, the one where you're already halfway packed before the dealer even finishes the board. Because at this point, I've already revealed that I've got the higher two pair. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like the most assumptive prick in Texas. The dealer burns, turns, and of course, we river a deuce. The Padawan has become the Jedi and hits his boat, and I was left with barely anything. And to this day, I blame him. Because if he doesn't grab that damn backpack, maybe the poker gods wouldn't have felt the need to humble me. All joking aside, here's what I'll always remember. It wasn't losing the hand. It was meeting someone who cared enough to watch my streams. And that's why he knew exactly how I played. He wasn't excited because he beat me. He was excited because we shared a moment. That's pretty special. I think back to those shows, Boy Meets World, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Cheers, Big Bang Theory. We don't love them because of the apartment or the bar. We love them because of the people. Poker's exactly the same. Years from now, I probably won't remember every buy-in. I definitely won't remember every cash, and I sure as shit won't remember every tournament. But I'll remember sitting in front of Doug Polk. I'll remember talking with Brad Owens while waiting for chips. I'll remember meeting Sam because Brittany invited me to her birthday. I'll remember finding one of my best friends in Huggy. And I'll remember watching Randy prove that generosity doesn't require a contract. Meeting Pokerface Ash, Poker Mama, Mallory, Wolfgang, and realizing that somewhere along the way, people started recognizing me too. Not because I made it, but because I showed up. So maybe that's what no sponsorship, no problem really means. Sure, no one's paying me to wear their logo. But poker's already given me something money can't buy. Friendships, stories, community, a place where I belong. And yeah, if a sponsorship comes one day, I'll be grateful. But if it ever does, I'll still consider myself one of the luckiest people any card room has ever seen. Because the greatest thing poker ever gave me was not a patch. It was the people. So here's to the people. Here's to the stories. And here's to finding your own version of home. Whether that's in the kitchen table with your family or around the poker table with friends who will eventually become family. I am Poker Rhino. And until next time, run well, live better, be the nuts.